actually will be teaching the digital engagement week this week to some people in North America, and I already reached out to you guys on LinkedIn. Can you guys raise your hands just so I know where you are? If you got okay, back there. So Mike is directly from LinkedIn, and I work at SAP. I'm in the global go-to-market team for Honda Enterprise Cloud, and I lead North America demand generation. But I came from many years in sales, many years. In fact, it's only been about a year that I've been out of sales. And even though I'm not from LinkedIn, so I have no reason to plug LinkedIn, I'm gonna tell you right now, this stuff works. This stuff absolutely works. It works in the 3 areas that he talked about: prospecting, knowledge sharing, and engagement, customer engagement. Today, our LinkedIn's are customer-centric, and it gives us an opportunity to connect with our customers, in a way that we've never had before. The beautiful thing about LinkedIn is our customers are the ones that are putting their information up there. Now, what I know about the Sales Academy, because I've been on here a couple times now, what I know about the Sales Academy is this is an incredible opportunity for you guys. You guys are absolutely in one of the most, if you guys are here, I know you guys are best in class, because to make it here, you have to be. And the content, especially our week, what we do. So everything he just showed, we're gonna dive a little bit deeper this week, but I do wanna say, from a salesperson who's been in the field and knows the ups and downs, I want you guys to be prepared for some things that you're not always going to have. I mean, when we say sales is tough, it is tough. So I'm gonna share a win story. And I'm going to share the win story that was only possible because of LinkedIn and Sales Navigator, and the opportunities that I had to engage as a trusted advisor or a thought leader, or whatever you want to call it, where I had the opportunity to pull my customers to me instead of push myself on them in prospecting. So, my sales background, I've been over at SAP now about 2.5 years. I've been in this role for about a year. Before that, I was in sales. I live in Chicago, but before that, I was actually with the competitor, and I came to SAP. They pulled me over. They gave me an offer I couldn't refuse, but I'm going to tell you right now, I was with the competitor, that 800-pound gorilla that everybody hears about, that doesn't play nice in the sandbox, that has a fleet of salespeople. And while I was selling for Oracle, I was in the strategic account space. I had 6 strategic accounts. So is there anybody that are already aligned to maybe a strategic patch? Okay, doesn't really matter, because each patch has its difficulties and its challenges, and I say the word challenges in all caps. But strategic, they tend to be the biggest accounts. They're higher up than large enterprise here. We have SCP, we call it SCP here. And out of those 6 accounts, I was blocked out of 4 of them. Meaning, I was not allowed to call into these accounts and prospect them. Either because the customer had said they didn't want salespeople calling into them, or because they're called CADs at Oracle, here we call them GADs. There was a CAD there saying they own the account. Just like for the overlays out here that will end up in the VAT teams, you're going to have industry AEs, and it's their territories. Technically, it's SAP's customers, but the IAEs own. So you will probably encounter something like this quite often, actually, is the reality of it. So I had to get very creative. Very, very creative, because not only did I have 6 accounts, 4 of them I couldn't contact, I also had an environment and a culture that was very, very social savvy already. So there wasn't anything really I was gonna do, no offense, Mike, but I did all those things that Mike said. Some of that stuff didn't exist the point drive and all that stuff, but there wasn't anything I was gonna do to stand out from everybody else. Mike, what did you call it? You called it the static resume? Yeah. You see the static resume a lot. A lot of us have been guilty of it and still are guilty of it. Where we put something up, it looks really good, it would be really good to a company that's hiring, and then we leave it alone. And we might look and check and see if we have any connections and send out a very, passive connection, request to connect, but then we stop there. We can't do this if we want to utilize this tool to its full advantage. or full benefit. So I'm going to tell you why I have this slide up is to tell you guys, when you guys get in the field, you will compete with Oracle. You're going to compete with the Workdays, the Salesforce, the Oracles, all the ones that are best in breed, all the ones that are seat at the table just like SAP, and they do these things. So not only am I telling you that this stuff works, you want to do this because your competitors are doing this. At Oracle, I still have 116 LinkedIn connections, and what I did before I created this deck is I went on there, counted out how many connections I had, and I will tell you, hands down, those connections post, and they do everything that Mike says, way more than SAP. SAP is not the leader on social media when it comes to engagement and activities and having a presence. Definitely our competition is ahead of us on this, but that can change instantly. And that's why I love talking to the associates, because this is your lives. You guys get this. It's much easier to talk to you guys on how to do this and talk to somebody who's been in sales for 20 years with the attitude, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And meanwhile, a sign of the times, fast forward, innovation is getting ahead of some of those senior reps. They're missing out on a lot of opportunities. So all the stuff Oracle is doing, again, I covered that I had strategic accounts. And the last thing I think is very, very, very critical to mention. Nobody was going to make my quota for me. So if you have an IAE that's telling you to stay out of the account, I had a CAD that was telling me to stay out of the account, they weren't going to make my quota. And it is critical that we make our numbers, else we're not going to be around after a while. I love that you're laughing at that. I can laugh at that too now, but I wasn't laughing back then. And so I decided that I'm going to start thinking out of the box, and I encourage each and every one of you guys to do this. Think out of the box. How can you stand out? Think about how many times these decision makers are prospected weekly. How many times, how are we going to stand out against, aside from everyone else? So when I was at Oracle, I actually sold HCM. We have Success Factors here. Is there anyone going to Success Factors? Awesome. It's a great organization. You guys have some great people over there. What I did is I researched. Where are the HR professionals going for their information? Where are they networking with each other? And I found there are two areas. We had HR.com and we had SHRM. So in the HCM space, I joined the SHRM organization. I was only granted a certain level because I was a vendor, but I was still allowed to attend many of the events. And I started subscribing to HR.com. HR.com has 1 million members. There's over 3 million subscribers to the other journals or the other magazines that they put out. So it absolutely is where everybody was going. And again, thinking out of the box, how can I pull my customers to me when I'm not allowed to contact them? Only way I could do this is through LinkedIn. What I did is I started writing articles, and I started submitting them to HR.com, and eventually one of my articles actually got on the front page of one of their magazines. And at that point, I was able to set myself up and above and beyond the competition. Not only the competition with other vendors, but all the other Oracle reps calling into this account. And you guys will encounter this too. You guys are going to call into an account, you're going to connect with somebody, and you're going to say that you're their account manager or however you word it, and they're going to say that they already have one from SAP. Because our customers don't necessarily understand our lines of business, our VATs, our overlays, our industry AE organization. And then I eventually, once I got that article, I kept on writing, and I kept on getting articles submitted. And I kept on posting, I was posting in those groups, I was posting on my status, and I was sharing this with that CAD that didn't let me in the account. And I was following the same groups that my prospects that I wasn't allowed to connect with, following the same groups, the team links, I was in some of the same exact threads, activity that these contacts were in. And eventually, and it didn't really take that long, it was like 2.5 months. Within 2.5 months, I had 2 of my 6 strategic accounts reaching out to me. I had an EA reaching out for Global Vice President of Marriott, trying to set an appointment with me. And I had somebody from Honeywell, who is predominantly an SAP shop, set an appointment with me, all because of the stuff that I did on LinkedIn. Excuse me. And I'm going to say at the very end, the end of the story, and I'm not going to keep on going, the end of the story was I closed the first deal at Oracle within like 8 years at Honeywell, because Honeywell is an SAP shop. And again, it's done because of this. So, I believe in this stuff. Everybody here on this team believes in this stuff. We see it work continuously, and we have to remember that we have to think, work smarter, think out of the box. And I'm going to end with this slide because one of the things that I hear most often from the senior reps that I train, whether it be across all lines of business or within HANA Enterprise Cloud, is I hear LinkedIn doesn't work. I've had a LinkedIn account for 3 years and it doesn't work. I can't get any sort. Well, you know what? If we think about it as a relationship, we think about it like in a virtual relationship, put it in real life. You meet somebody that's going to be very important to you, and you want to cultivate that relationship. It's not just meeting them one time and then waiting for them to reach out to you. You do things little by little to build the trust, cultivate and grow that relationship, and I promise you that you will see results. That's it.